Thanks for staying with us. Welcome to our Let's Talk segment. Recently, governors got the backing of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to embark on massive food production amid the rising cost of food. He urged the state helmsmen to work together to meet the needs of citizens. They have to consult on how to achieve food sufficiency and revert to him within 7 days. Joining us on the show to enlighten us more on this topic is an agricultural turnaround farmer and African Farmer Mogaji. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
You can call us on 081-0764-1679, 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag Yourview TVC so we can read your tweet. All right, thank you for coming. I mean, we've seen quite a few governors had meetings in the last few days. I know the Southwest had something recently last week where they're coming together to agree on what they can do to attain food sufficiency within their regions. What are your own thoughts when you heard the president's marching orders that they should get back to him in 7 days?
Well, I think it is out of place for governors to have waited for the president to give direction. Because this food crisis has been around for about 3 years.
Okay.
And the governors control their states. The president does not control the states. The federal does not have the lands. So the governors ought to, they don't actually need the president. That's the truth.
Yeah.
They don't need the president. Why do I say they don't need the president? The minimum wage they're discussing now, even the president is throwing it back to them.
Yeah.
So I think the governors need to take ownership and run with what they have. If they still want to hide under the president or presidency's marching order, we will not be food secure. But when they take the president took responsibility and spoke to them. So let them come and listen to most of their commissioners and the civil servants. They know what to do. Politicians, some are not listening to them.
Okay.
So it's a welcome development. However, I think the governors need to show more.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about what they need to do. Because in the marching order that we read, the president went further. He said, provide the land. How possible is it? Because, you know, you are in the business. Are there lands? Is there land somewhere? Has Tokwe not bought everything for housing?
Land is not
So there's land everywhere. There's land in every state. There's land in Lagos. In fact, there's more than enough land in Lagos.
Yeah.
This Lagos.
Yes. Some even cleared lands in Lagos for agricultural purpose. We've not engaged the lands. There's too much land in every state cleared. That when I did a video, I said 72 hours. There are lands that in 72 hours, yeah, I can be quoted, they can plow. One man gave me 500 acres, you know, with documents, cleared land. I've gone to see it that, okay, if people want to cultivate, this is it. Beyond that, every state has land. And I've transversed a bit around the country, and I just get there with a mindset that I will get land. And I get land. And it's cleared land. No bulldozer works, tractors work immediately. It's just for us to coordinate, collaborate, and we'll get things done.
Okay, so I found it a bit, you know, interesting that it was a call for land, provide land. I thought it was a security issue. Oh, the subsidy being taken off from, taken away. It's logistics, it's transportation issue, it's diesel issue, you know. Those were the things I thought were the problems. Was it really land that's the problem?
Land is not really the problem, okay? On the mid-term and long-term, land will be a challenge. But currently is work collaboration. Beyond collaboration is the right agencies. Like, I say this all the time, a large percentage of the fertilizers we use are either adulterated or fake. So when private sector and even government that buys the fertilizers, when you're supposed to use 8 bags and it's written 15, 15, 15, and what you have inside is 777, that means to get the result anticipated, you will use 14. So when people don't get the results, many people think, oh, it's because somebody, you know, played a smart one. Most of the chemicals we use to manage insects and weeds, most of them are also adulterated or low quality.
Why?
So it's the parastatals under government that we need to tighten up on. If we tighten up on them, we will get efficiency and we get productivity. Asking for land is for the future, but right now, if we want to feed ourselves and avoid food crisis come end of October, November, it's the government agencies that need to do the right thing.
So is this corruption or is this just a lack of knowledge? For what
It's both. It's corruption, but not taking money. It's corruption because even when the agencies, the staffs of the agencies want to do their jobs, the people who bring this substandard product are heavily influenced. So because they have a family to feed also, they just sit and watch. So it's government giving authority and supporting the agencies to do their job, knowing fully well that when there's any backlash, they know government will protect them. Until we'll do that, we're all just still joking.
Okay, so your predictions are always very worrisome because they are usually accurate, and I am more worried that we're not seeing a more concerted effort because after the president, even before the president, the conversation the president had with the governor of Ogun State gave land to House of Representative members, and my thought was, is this what we need to stimulate food production in Nigeria? There are conversations around the fact that one of the challenges, this is a reoccurring, tomato expensive at this time of the year, rainy season, year in, year out. We seem to be a country that is suffering from a little bit of insanity because we are doing the same thing over and over again. Then we complain. It will come and we'll complain. What do you think we could have done before now to prevent this current complaint of there is no tomato, tomato is very expensive? My friends are already saying even onions will be very expensive very soon.
Very soon.
Like this is back to back. How do we prevent this recurring cycle of products going very expensive and getting scarce?
First thing first is get experts on the table. When I say experts, it's not people producing, food security experts, because we tend to assume food production as the same with food security. You can be producing but not understand what's happening in Edo, what's happening in Jigawa, what's happening in Okyogun. When you are able to mix everything vis-a-vis policy and politics, that's very crucial. Politics and policy, when you mix it together, you get food security. So one of the things we need to first begin to do is to say, okay, every year this happens. I've been monitoring this since year 2001, 23 years. I was here May last year.
Yes.
Talking about this. I'm here again talking about it. What we need to do is to first set a goal to say this time next year, what do we need to do? And we need the governors to tell the commissioners whatever you need to do, give it to me. Then we need to identify a lot, not all the lands can produce to meet the May, June, July crisis. Not all the lands, okay? So that's why I said get the experts on the table. Then when we do that, we need to also, because you can produce, and logistics can make it expensive also.
Yeah.
Get the NRUTW on board. We are not been including them in the things we do. So no matter how you have productivity, how things are going on well, you have a bumper harvest, that is also a challenge. The real stakeholders have not been consulted or brought on the table. We bring the educated people. The people who control the value chain are not the educated ones. So they don't understand, oh, this is policy. So we need to get the right people. We need to work together. We need to be able to also involve the youths. We talk about the youths. I've seen a lot of government programs that will say, oh, okay, the youth you trained, let's work with them. And we'll find 50s, 55, 45 as the youths, even though the program will say under 35. You know, so we need to bring in the youths for that sustainability now, from secondary school to university, until we begin to bring that together. Then we need the right input. Not all seeds will work. in this country, what worked last year doesn't necessarily mean it will work this year. Same brand. So it's an ongoing thing. We just need to commit some people to say, this time next year, we're not going to face this. This is your responsibility. It's nobody's responsibility currently.
Exactly.
And and I would say this for some of the Southwestern Commissioners of Agriculture. I would say this because I know a few of them. They have the goal. They are open-minded, but the system also is handicapping them. That's the truth. The system is handicapping them. Some of them don't get the funding when they need to get the funding to do things. So they have to sit back and just
wait.
watch
when
and
you
wait.
Are
You
there?
mentioned the seed not working. It brought to my mind the Lagos-Kebbi collaboration. And why Lagos is no longer Kebbi collaborating now, they're collaborating Niger State. I'm thinking that one did not work. That formula is no longer working. What happened? Was rice? Are they no longer growing rice in Kebbi State to the quantity? Because then Lagos had an alternative of the cheapest quality rice, Earth Lake rice, in all kinds of rice, all seeds I could find of the rice. So long grain, short grain, whatever grain that was a Lake rice brand. I had them and they were all good. But now we don't have it. We have a rice mill, this huge in Mota, and it's not working. Is it that they can no longer do that collaboration to bring in paddy? What exactly is it?
So from the day one that collaboration came on board, I went on a national TV and I said it will have challenges. Why did I say it will have challenges? Based on experience. My dad used to grow about 1,000 acres of rice in the 80s when we processed. Now, that distance was too long. And I said government would have to be subsidizing. At the end of the day, when the administration was leaving, we had the billions that was used to subsidize because the price at which, when the rice fills the bag and they seal it off, is cheaper than the amount they are selling here when you have not added logistics. Now, that collaboration is too far. Now, Niger is still better. But the places that ought to collaborate is Ogun, Oyo, Ekiti, and Ondo.
With those people.
To feed Imota. There's no rocket science there. So they are more willing. They've developed themselves more in Kebbi. But it was not sustainable. Okay. But it was good to have started it.
Yeah, so we know.
Now, so the question is, what is different? What is government doing differently from what was done in Kebbi? Okay, and I'm aware that, most times I speak for Lagos State. And why? Because Lagos State, from operations, not theory, is proactive. I'm aware Lagos State got some lands in Ogun. Okay, cleared the land. I went to the land. I witnessed it. But when one administration left, same Southwest, same party, by the time a new administration came in, they did not grant them access to those lands again. So some things have to be said. So Lagos has invested. The other states, Southwest, did not honor again when one administration left. So
this is the politics.
It's the politics and policy that makes.
But with this presidential order now,
yes,
because obviously they have to put politics aside because people got to eat.
Yeah.
So what do you think can do? You talked about consulting because government is supposed to be a facilitator.
Yes.
They have no business in getting into agriculture, really. They should be working with experts. So how do you think, in 7 days, what can they do? What kind of plan do you think they should give to Mr. President to show that they are totally, they're ready to execute on this work?
Basically, is to bring together the companies already operational in their states.
Okay.
So let's take, for instance, Oyo State. There's a company producing sorbitol, some measure of sugar sweetener. They have factory underutilized. They have thousands of acres of land. They should be saying, around this factory, there is 100,000 hectares of land. Fund the production so this factory can operate.
Okay.
The rice mills that we have across the country, they need to aggregate the lands available around it instead of saying, clear one forest. Support the existing MSMEs and co already that need raw material so that we can create jobs, value chain, the seeds, the fertilizer, the tractors, that is a quick fix.
Yeah.
Because those people are in operations, they are just struggling. If that is not what they are giving to the president, it will not work. Everything we do, we recycle mistakes.
So you can do that in the southeast,
Yes.
the south, and they have this kind of structure.
Identify all these factories, processors, and build. Tomatoes, we have tomato factories in North Central, above. Now, I can say it, all of them, without an exception, none of them is operating 40% capacity.
No, don't have enough.
And they have lands around them.
And there's wastage.
And there's even, so bottom line is government also needs to talk to NAFDAC, especially about tomatoes. Now, we use Europe standard for Nigeria. And we have a challenge. What we need to do is this tomato edible? Is it good? If it's okay, then let us produce our standard. India did it. China did it. There's a standard for local consumption. There's a standard for export consumption. It's good. But if we don't have it, if we don't have enough, why are we using Europe standard? And we are using the same seeds that Europe used to use 30 years ago. So we need to work with policies that work for us. But the tomato cabal will fight it.
Why?
Please, I want to
explain to see he's opening up so many things. I don't even know where to start my questions from. So first of all, you have talked about tomatoes that may not be healthy for us.
No, it's healthy.
No.
Okay, it's just
It's
a
the same
different
alpha tomato that you buy.
Okay, but you're saying, are we importing the seeds from Europe? Don't we have them here?
Every seed is imported. I stand to be corrected. Every seed, onion, carrot, it starts with that. All tomato,
we have
onion.
IITA. Let me just let you
IITA.
and all those our research.
Why are we still importing? Please, can you help us?
We are importing because we have not sustainably developed our local seed companies.
Thank you.
Both private and government. We fund them a little and abandon them. Government is the one that secures all the seeds in every country. Okay, so the tomatoes, the normal Hausa tomato you use that we call Hausa is actually from 5 countries. Okay, that same tomato, okay, is what they used to blend to make paste in Europe. When the Europeans and developed countries developed a better variety, okay, they abandoned that. And now we are using that new standard as our standard. Meanwhile, for about 30 years, that was what they were eating. So we only need to work with what we have, not what we don't have.
As a farmer, how do you just say you cannot get seeds from tomato, for instance? Those of them wasting tomatoes in the north, you see them drying it. They can't pick it and replant it.
No, so some of them you can replant. Some you cannot replant. Because climate change is also affecting. So the hybrids do better. It's consistent, it's bred such that maybe it grows same height, uniform weight, uniform this. So, but hybrids are what they use.
To tell the truth.
Please, you asked the question. I need to bring in something because we also don't want to just lament about the challenges that Nigeria is facing and all the inefficiencies within the government. We also want to prefer solution. We know that they are watching. And, you mentioned one, which is that work with already existing structure. Many local farmers can do more if they are given seedlings.
Yes.
If I have over, he knows last year we planted 10,000 tubers. This year we have planted 46,000 tubers. And I still have over 15,000 tubers, 15,000 hips that I could not afford to plant. Do you understand? Because it will cost money to buy the seedlings and bring it in. I paid over $1 million to bring seedlings from Nasarawa to Lagos just for transporting. So existing players would increase capacity. They might be able to, they have land for 10. They are only doing 10. But if you now give them support, they can do 100
what will be
with
the cost? What will the cost to me, the end user? Because if I'm empowering the private sector, they're also going to make more money for me.
It will be available. What we have now is that it's not available. That's number one. Number two is, he said something earlier that he has not, we need to mention after the solution. Heads must roll if we have this again next year. If tomato at this time of next year, 2025, is still as expensive, it goes cheap and comes expensive, then people must say, I will resign. Until we have that chief responsibility officer, somebody will say, I will resign if we cannot solve this problem by this time next year. Until that happens.
You know what I'm getting? It looks like we need to rejig the Ministry of Agriculture. It means that the conversations that we're having here is not being had where it should matter. It means to me that the people who are there do not have an idea of what should work. Because what you have just said to me here is common sense. Does it have to take administration after administration after administration to just sort of get it?
Okay, let me...
So what is the problem with those who are there right now and those who know better? Why isn't there a table that you're seated at and you're having this conversation and rolling out ideas so that we see them in real life?
So let me say this. Some of the staffs of government know these things, but they are not empowered to do the work. However, also, the people at the helm of affairs also need to have targets. If the president says, or the governor says, like you said, this time next year, you are resigning, you are out, if we don't resolve this, then the person knows my job is at stake. Now, let me quickly just bring a balance to, many people don't know why we had tomato astronomically high this year. Okay, and people were like, oh, were you a prophet to get the pricing? And I believe after 23 years of monitoring one thing, you should be good at it. Now, so there's a wheat program going on in the north that is taking hundreds of thousands of lands for wheat and other initiatives. And that is what happens when we don't have a food security person when they are having conversations. What is the impact of this wheat, which is a good thing, on others? So I followed this mapping for many years, and I was able to map based on price of last 5 years, this is what the average price will be. So there's a good project going on, but it negatively affects this. So
okay, let me let Nima jump, because I know there was a question on maize, teller maize controversy. Well, what's that about?
Okay, so there's a lot of ignorance flying around with the teller maize. Teller maize is a GMO maize. Oh, no. Okay, now, so I've worked on GMO both in the US extensively. GMO conventional, the one we use fertilizers, and the organic. I've done all. Now, teller maize is different from the foreign GMO. Teller maize was developed in Nigeria. Okay. So the conversation around, oh, when you plant it, it affects the soil, other things cannot grow. No. That is like talking about your Nokia 3310 and our Android or iPhones now. Technology has moved. This teller maize has been taken care of. Nothing affects the soil. Anymore. It's a major improvement done by Nigerians that don't compromise, because I know a few of them. So the teller maize, the challenge with the teller maize is government did not, and the people advising government now, they are consultants, and I'm going to hit them now. They are consultants, they did not let them know that this conversation is already heated globally. Now, this is a better product than what you have even in the US and Argentina.
This teller maize.
Yes. This teller maize is a better product developed 100% here. But this is how to communicate it. Do you get? So it's the communication that they did not let people know, oh, this is how it was produced. This was the challenges before. This is what has been taken care of. They just threw the communication out. I would have advised them, let the president and Bill Gates be eating the corn. Even though Nigerians will be skeptical and say no, but, you know, it's the communication. When we are bringing agricultural solutions, we don't bring communication experts. We bring technical people. But nothing bad in teller maize.
Okay, but it's GMO. So that GMO is like a red flag for me.
No, so for me, I'm neither, to put this out, I'm neither for GMO, nor am I against it. Mine is to provide the fact I will eat GMO. I don't have any business with it.
Okay, these tomatoes that we have been talking about, the Hausa one that has a season where it usually, over the years, we've always known that at a particular season, it goes out of stock. Then we supplement with what they call the Ogbomoso one that everybody buys. So why does this one go out of stock, and what exactly are you suggesting? Because Tokpa was just talking about that there should be, this is happening, I believe, because it's out of stock, not because somebody has failed. Out of season. Out of season. Out of season was the word. You know, it's out of season. So if you want heads to roll, is it they are doing that it is out of season, and what should be done? Yes.
So bottom line is, the fact is that southwest and southern part of the country should produce tomatoes for that season. The climate in the north does not support it. I've lost millions of naira trying to produce in the north to bring to the south. The factors, climatic factors does not support it. But in south, especially southwest, we are positioned to produce. The seeds that the seed companies will tell you is ideal meant for this will not work on a commercial scale. Then this year also, which is also is a revolving thing, the heat in March was high.
Yes.
That heat made flowers of these things to abort. We don't plan climate change to the conversation. So the seeds that will work, at some point in time, or the seed companies will tell you this will work. Most times it doesn't work. So the ones that will work are not the ones they know, they develop. So bottom line is, it's like trying to shoot a moving target.
Yeah.
You need the experts who know to come on the table to work with you.
I just wish the governors, I mean, there's so much stuff out there, but as I say, governors, they need the consultants, they need to work with experts, and I like the idea that fund those who are already existing. Let us see. You don't have to duplicate efforts by trying to start it all over again. So I think that makes a lot of sense, and I hope that in 7 days, there'll be a real concrete plan from the governors on how to move this forward. Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
That's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.